please show your face so we can see you? Mr. Kende.
Yeah, hear me. Hi. Good
okay,
afternoon.
hello, Mr. Kende. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Good
It's
to be
nice
here.
to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Mr. Paul, I can see you online. Can you please show your face?
Hey, okay, I'm on it.
Okay, we can't
Since
see your face, Mr.
having
Paul.
I'm having a bit of an issue, but I'll sort it out in a bit.
We can barely hear you.
Can you hear me? Is it better now?
It's fainting.
Okay.
Mr. Paul, your face, we can't see you. We can't hear you.
Okay.
Okay, while he's trying to fix that, Mr. Obin, are you live? Let's see you. Okay, I think our moderator has joined and she's going to take it up from here. Happiness. Hello, Happiness. Can you unmute yourself and say hello? Hello, Happiness. Can you show your face if you can hear me?
Can you?
Okay, I can hear you now. So the moderator is live now, so I'm handing over to her. So Happiness, you can take it up from here, please.
Okay. Good morning, rather good afternoon. I want to actually host a very, very special package webinar. Especially welcome all our speakers here. Mr. Bankole.
Is it just me or your network is breaking? Hi.
Okay.
Happiness, your line is seriously breaking. I can really hear you.
Hello, Adiola. Okay, he has muted already.
Can you hear Happiness? Or I'm just the only one.
I can barely hear her.
Okay. Happiness, is everything okay? We can't hear you. You've muted yourself. Please unmute yourself, Happiness.
Okay, can everybody hear me now? I think the network, I was trying to get a better position.
Okay. It's clear now.
Okay, it's clear. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to apologize for just coming on. My live show went beyond time and it was really out of my control. But we're here now, so just kick off quickly. Okay. My name is Happiness Godwin, and I'd like to welcome you all especially to today's webinar, specially curated by Business Day under the umbrella of the Millennial Hangout. And we're in for a power pack time today. We're talking about a very, very current, very informative and trendy topic. Of course, I'm sure you're already ignited to know what we're talking about. So the theme is digital transformation and startups. Now we've seen the trend of, digital transformation over time from different centuries, different eras, and we're now in a more digital era than we were in the previous centuries. Now we're seeing AI, we're seeing automations, we're seeing, more community-led brands presently. And there's a whole lot. It's a very exciting topic. And I'm looking forward to all the knowledge, all the insights that every one of our speakers will bring to the table today. Well, without further ado, I'd like to welcome our speakers for today. I'd like to start with, I'd like to start with Mr. Kende. I'd like to start with Mr. Kende, okay? So let's just quickly meet Mr. Kende. So Mr. Kende is a marketing and comms strategist, a brand positioning expert, business process optimization expert, and the founder of Scale NXT. Good, amazing. And also we have the amazing, fantastic Paul Eze. Paul Eze is a technology entrepreneur, a product strategist, startup builder, AI tools expert. And also we have the amazing Obinna Chukudioke. He's a fintech infrastructure innovator. He's also the co-founder of MapleRad, and is also a regulatory tech expert. He's also an expert on seamless finance APIs. And then also we have Henry Bankole. Amazing. Henry Bankole is a fintech CEO, angel investor, YC-backed startup leader, scale strategist, financial inclusion advocate. Wow, a really, really fantastic bio right there. Then also we have the amazing Ogugua Belongu, who is the visionary founder of My Job Mag Limited. He's a tech-driven CEO involved in IT consulting services. He's also a technologist by training and an impact maker as well. And he has also been the CEO he is the CEO at Best Value Providers. Wow. Special thanks to all our speakers for joining us today. Please, may we just kindly know who we have on right now? Mr. Please, can you say hello to us and kindly introduce yourself quickly to our audience? I think that's Mr. Ogugwa Belongu. So good to have you.
Okay, thank you very much, Happiness. Thank you for having me here. And I salute all great entrepreneurs and leaders on the call. So basically, you've said it all. I'm Ogugwa Belong, a software developer, digital marketer in the course of my work. I love everything about AI and startups, right? And when you want to talk about people as well, I'm your go-to person for that.
Okay, fantastic. So good to have you on here, sir. And I'm particularly interested in all that you have to share with us today. But to kick off, I'd like to know what are the trends, I mean, with your experience being a digital marketer, what are the trends that you have seen in digital transformation for startups? Can you share with us? Thank you.
Okay, so basically, the past 1-2 years has seen a lot happening around AI and everything in the space and in the industry, right? Everybody is trying to adopt AI in one way or the other because it's really very powerful, right? However, I see lots of people that do not really understand the concept of digital transformation. They see just modernize it or picking one tool or the other as what digital transformation is all about, right? However, digital transformation is a lot more holistic, right? It's something that cuts across the entire organization, from its foundation, talking about the culture, how things are done, and the thought process, right? So it's really a very interesting topic for me because internally we're even going through a digital transformation process, right? So where we are looking at rethinking how we handle the entire recruitment process, how we attend to customers, how we attend to job seekers, right? So when you have a platform that gets 1 million people a month, to come look for jobs, then of course you really have to think through how you attend to them, how you give them maximum value. So digital transformation starts from value creation and value delivery, right? So I have a slide. I don't know if it has to be a conversational session. I shared my
Oh,
slide.
please.
Okay, great stuff. Okay, yeah. Okay.
It's really really fantastic all that you've shared, and you're also you have a very big picture, to of course connect 100,000 young Africans with sustainable jobs by 2030. That's a huge figure. That's a really huge figure.
Yeah, and we're at it.
Yes.
Yeah, we wake up, we add one number to it, and we keep counting and we keep moving.
That's fantastic.
And reaching our goal. Yeah. So basically, just like I was saying before, digital transformation is the holistic change that organizations go through in order to be able to deliver better value, right? And to adapt as well, because sometimes if you're playing in a space and you don't adapt, you may end up dying. So by just a simple definition, I would say that it's the strategic integration of technologies into different areas of a business, right? So basically it changes how people do things, how people think, how people operate. And at the end of the day, there must be a clear value that it delivers, which is measurable at the end of the day. Right. So it's not just about, okay, I'm just changing A in the company, say we're having a customer service problem.
Okay.
I just come and say, okay, let me introduce a tool and that problem gets solved. No, you have to think backwards, understand the problem, understand the data behind the problem.
Okay.
Formulate a strategy, right, towards solving the problem. Then, but fundamentally educate people, because education is one major place where I see that massive gap where you're trying to force people to change, but they're not willing to change because they're used to the old ways of doing things, right? So that is what digital transformation is about. And for today, we are going to look at, okay, we've looked at what it's about in a nutshell. I'll spend time looking at what digital transformation is not. Because if you call 10 people now and say, what is digital transformation? Come again?
They may have something to say.
Exactly. So it's important for us to understand what it's not so we can progress with the conversation. So the first thing is adding a new technology isn't digital transformation. So you could see a company that has a manual process, right? Let's say that, let me even use the HR space, for instance. There are some HR companies that still collect hard copy CVs from people, right? Depending on the people they serve. So the founder may just listen to a program and say that, maybe we should just introduce an ATS. And tomorrow the founder will say that, okay, we've been transformed. I don't think that's complete, because the mindset of the people, is it aligning? You may have that software on the system, but when people come, they'll say, give me your hard copy CV. They'll still tend towards the old way of doing things, right? So for you to say that you've transformed, it has to be holistic, not just about adopting one technology. Also, it's not a one-time project, it's a process, right? It's a process that spans through a period of time. So at the end of the day, you're able to see that progress and you move towards achieving your goal. Most times too, it's not just about IT. So IT, of course, is fundamental. So you have the technology, the AI, everything. Of course, it's digital transformation. But fundamentally, it's about people. You must transform people, how people think, how they do things, before you can truly transform an organization. Right. Also, some people think that it's just about replacing people with machines. So if you go on YouTube now, you see many videos of people.
That record straight.
Yeah. Yes. So you go on YouTube, you see many people that will tell you that AI is taking 1 million jobs. Your job is at risk. You need to be worried now. And maybe when some founders, startup founders, they come into the organization, their focus is how can I cut 30% of my workforce? Which tool will I introduce to cut 40%? That's not how to think through digital transformation. You should look at how can you deliver more value, right? It starts from a value creation mindset. So now, if at the end of the value creation process, you might need to repurpose what people do or introduce more people on the team, or unfortunately have to let someone go, then that has to be the outcome or one of the outcomes of the digital transformation process. But not like thinking from, okay, our goal is to cut off people and you say that you're being transformed. So also it's not just about a fancy app, a fancy website, and it's not the same for different companies. For an organization, it could just be a little change somewhere and with a lot of education. For another organization, it could be $1 million project.
More like structuring systems and structures and all.
Exactly. So it could be even something as simple as introducing Google Docs in your organization instead of Microsoft Word and educating people extensively on how to collaborate around it. You could see massive change or massive progress in that regard. Also, it's not about hypes or trend, because now digital transformation, due to the fact that we're in an era of AI, everybody's trying to adopt it, which is very important because if you don't adopt it, you may end up dying. But before you start saying which AI do we adopt, we need to understand the problem. You need to have a clear vision, right? So you can have everybody together thinking the right way, trying to solve the problem. Okay, so who needs digital transformation? I think I do, and many startups do as well. And just like I said earlier, we're actually undergoing digital transformation process right now. So just in a nutshell, if you fall under any of these buckets, then trust me, you may need to think of how to transform your organization. Maybe there are lots of manual processes in your organization. You still carry paper, file up and down, customer. So it's true in many organizations, even though they might appear like it's trendy or kind of Gen Z-ish kind of organization, but there could be lots of paper files going on the ground. Your customer experience is not consistent, right? Customer A calls today is a different experience. Customer B calls tomorrow is a totally different experience. Maybe the customer service person is just not happy today. So the customer service person does not respond well. So for that kind of organization, you need to have to rethink your customer service process and value delivery. Or maybe you have a team that is overwhelmed. People are complaining, right, about one thing or the other. Then, of course, you have to think of how to solve this. Now, another issue here is, when people transited to remote jobs, we had lots of organizations that were forced to go remote, right? Now, when they went remote, they faced lots of challenges. What some people did were to run back to the office, right? However, for you to be able to continue to go remote successfully, you might need to go through a process of transformation, which is a very holistic process. So when you're a hybrid or a remote team and you find out that there's a disconnect, people are not just performing, and you think that hybrid is the way forward for some reasons, then there could be need for you to transform. And it's not just about telling people that, oh, if you don't work, you get sacked. If you don't deliver, there's threatening them. No, that's not the approach, right? So you're having issues with scaling or your competitors are taking your lunch, then of course you should think of transforming, right? So now we're in an era of AI, right? And AI can actually make the process of transformation a lot more easier than it used to be. In the past, if you want to really go through certain transformation, you might need to get in touch with maybe a high-end consulting firm to think you through the process. But right now, with AI, Gen AI, LLMs, you can actually do a lot with even your ChatGPT. So I put together a few steps startups can use to actually make their business transformation process a lot easier. So the first one is strategy and vision. So for every business transformation, digital transformation process, there has to be a clear vision and a clear strategy design. What do we want to achieve, right? Where are we going? What is the goal of this process? And there has to, with that particular vision document, you would educate both the people at the top and the people down in different departments on what to expect in the process. So with AI can help you compare different strategies, different industries, and even come up with a plan for you. Of course, make sure that you don't take every plan, hook, line, and sinker. Take it, digest it, rephrase it, prompt it properly, give it context. Don't just tell it, okay, I generate a digital transformation document for me. It will give you one generic stuff. Prompt it properly. Tell it, okay, maybe act as a digital transformation expert in so domain. This is where I am. This is what we're trying to achieve. Look at it and design a document for me, right? It can even, I think the good thing about it is that with AI, it can help you think about things that ordinarily you may not think of. It could give you like 14 subsets or 14 topics that you can really look at and analyze to be sure that you have totally looked at all the challenges and risk around your transformation process. Now, AI can actually help you with the market and competitive analysis in your transformation process. It can help you do your market research, analyze customer trends, competitor strategies, and so on. So some of the questions you can feed in is, what are the top pain points for customers in this industry, right? What are the top pain points that our competitors are facing, right? Even if you could feed it with maybe a full document on reviews. You can go look at a competitor product. Let's say they have an app on the App Store. You can go and copy all their reviews. Feed it to AI, tell it, go through these reviews and give me the major recurring themes here. So it can just give you, maybe instead of someone sitting down to read 4,000 reviews on App Store, it can help you to do the reviews, even your own reviews as well, and save you time. So with it makes transformation a lot easier. So this is about roadmap. So when you have a strategy, you have a plan, you understand what you want to do, then of course you create a roadmap. So just like I said earlier, this is just like a guide. When you prompt AI to give you a roadmap, you don't just say, okay, that's it, and you go and share with your team. And everybody, maybe they will come back tomorrow and see something that doesn't even talk about your company or talks about something else altogether. It will mean that they will take the whole process to be a joke. So that's one very important thing. You must review everything you get from the AI or the LLM you're using. Now, you have to look at stakeholder communication. LLMs can help you to do that. You can tell AI to draft a presentation for me for a certain category of your users in the organization, right? So you have to look at stakeholder communication as well. Then one powerful thing where AI can help you as well is in data-driven decision support. So for you to transform, you have to start with where you are and you have to understand it and know where you're going to. And AI can actually help you analyze your data, put your tables, put your summaries, and it will turn the data into meaningful images for your decision making. So basically, just to recap, digital transformation is a very critical process that most organizations and startups will need to go through to remain competitive in today's world, right? If you don't do it now, trust me, in the next few months or a year or two,
Forced to do it.
yeah, you'll be forced to do it or you leave the market. So those are my thoughts around digital transformation, AI, how startups can go about it.
Fantastic. I mean, thank you so much, Abubua Balongu, for that insightful time. You really did touch on a lot of things. And I also love the fact that you touched on the misconceptions that startups should avoid when it comes to transformation. So digital transformation for startups presently in this age is more like oxygen. You either breathe or you die. You're breathing or you're choking or You just have to breathe. So it's very important. Thank you so much for that resounding time. So please stay put. I'll come back to you shortly.
Sure.
Okay, so we have Henry Bankole. Mr. Henry Bankole, are you there with us? Please kindly turn on your camera so we can see you.
Hi there.
Hi, hello. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to all the insights you share with us. So whilst I was going through and researching, on the works you've done, your person, it was really intriguing. So I'd like to kick off with my first question for you. I know Ogugua has touched on a lot. So my first question for you is, based on everything that we've heard, the particular bone of contention here is getting returns. Startups want to know that whatever dividends or whatever investments they are putting into digital transformation strategies would pay off in the end, because that's really all that matters, right? I mean, that's really all that matters. So how can startups ensure that they have the exact ROI from several digital transformation strategies or initiatives after adopting them?
Thank you very much. I think one of the first things we have to keep in mind is start with the customer. Don't just introduce technology just because you have to do it. It comes from listening to the customers, understand their pain points, and understand fully the kind of problem you want to solve. And it is holistic. It's not something that you just do and say you've done it. It's also iterative at the same point. But what I would say is that for startup founders, startup leaders, one of the things to do at the very early stages, make sure that you have very defined metrics. Have a financial metrics, have an operational metric, have a customer metric, and then make sure that all of these metrics, you're able to put them together to be able to achieve your results. So when it comes to like financial metrics, for instance, you can look at revenue growth. And because digital transformation is just about making sure that you are more efficient, making sure that you are transforming the entire organization, it's not just the technological part. You want to make sure that you are tracking how much cost has been reduced since you've started to introduce the technology. And it's not just about technology as well, it's also education. So that's also equally important. And then keep track of customer acquisition cost, customer lifetime value, time to break even. Since you introduce these things, what has changed? Make sure that you're tracking them effectively. Thank you.
Perfect. Love your answer. Very straight on, and I could pick up the points already. And I'm pretty sure that our viewers are taking note of all the points that you just shared. But also, I've got a question. I'm obviously putting myself in maybe a startup founder's shoes. There's a whole lot of trends. I mean, technologies. Before you say jackpots, I mean, there's a new digital tool out there. How does one stay ahead? I mean, it can be very daunting, before you're thinking of, adapting your startup, your company to a particular technology, another one is sprouting up. So please share with us how one can stay off and also filter all of this technology.
So like I said, one of the first things to do is if you are always tuned into solving your customer's problem, you will always stay ahead. So the way to think about it is the technologies that you intend to introduce, are they going to solve real customer pain points? And then make sure that you are innovating at the same time. One thing that I would say is that regardless of whatever the competition is doing or the competitors are doing, make sure that your solutions are tailored to your customer segment. Digital transformation doesn't have to be radical at all times. It doesn't have to, you could build on something that is existing already. So some people think of digital transformation as, we have to just overhaul and just, it has to be.
So sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I think people should do is understand the kind of problem you're solving, make sure that you're adopting these tools as much as possible. There is, of course, the LLMs, the chat GPTs that you have today. There are several tools, even for marketing, for customer success, and all of those things. But make sure that, regardless of the pressure that you're getting right now, to stay ahead, make sure that you are tailoring your services or whatever you're trying to do to the needs of your customer, and make sure that you are not too you don't get locked into these traditional mindsets. One of the things that I would say, and I think is very important, is that some people think about digital transformation and then look at the cost alone. It could be a recurring cost, no matter what the cost is. If you fail to innovate, you will die, and it's that simple. You have to stay ahead, use these tools as they come, but make sure at the same time that you're tracking the metrics. Make sure that the financial metrics, the operational metrics, they're all connected and it makes sense to the business as well. So as much as you're using these tools to stay ahead, make sure that it makes sense for your business. Make sure that you are still solving the problems of your customers as well through these tools.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Henry, for sharing with us. I have a question for you, but I'm coming right back to you. Can we have Mr. Paul Eze? Mr. Paul Eze, are you there?
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Hey, how are we?
I'm excellent. How are you today? Thank you for joining in.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've also done a very good research on your background, and it's really, really, really inspiring as well. And based on your experience, my question for you is, can you share with us? I mean, you've had myriads of experience with startups, so please, I want you to come from the angle of the success stories. Like, give us some examples of startups that have actually experientially used digital transformation strategies and how it affected them, how they operated, how the benefits of these systems and structuring that the digital transformation initiatives brought to these platforms. Did you get my question? Oh, okay. I think we'll get back shortly to Mr. Paul. But on that note, let's move straight to Obina Chukwudioke. I'm sorry. Obina Chukwudioke.
Yes, correct.
Thank you. Okay. So, Obina, I also looked through all that you do, and I've come in contact with some of your work in the past as well. And it's really so exciting to come in contact with you on today's webinar. And I'm very particular about this question I want to ask you, because I think it's something that so many people actually do not think about before venturing. So my first question for you would be, what skills do you think that startups should focus on, to develop like a very successful digital transformation? And please feel free, if you have any presentation slides, feel free to share with us. You can answer the question, then kick off with your presentation slide.
Okay. Thank you. So for implementing digital transformation, I don't think it's just one particular skill people should look out for. So digital transformation is a process, right? So it's cut across management, the tech, marketing, customer experience, and the other parts of a startup. So people should be, first of all, the strategy should just be about you access your current states. You have to evaluate your existing technology, your processes, how much, digital maturity the company has. Then the next step for you, for a startup, to implement digital transformation is to define their goals and, their vision. You need to say, okay, what are the things we are trying to achieve with this? You set clear objectives, align it with your business strategy. So for instance, if you are let's say a fintech now,
because a fintech that let's use something like MoneyPoint, something that everybody can see. You know, when MoneyPoint started initially, they were not into the POS business, right? So
Sure.
yeah, exactly. So they were just more into payment processing, more like the Paystack and the Flutterwave, even Paystack, Flutterwave today. But you know, as they accessed and looked at their current state, their processes, and how they can improve revenue, they had to start setting goals. Say, okay, I think how do we reach more customers? Look at what OPay is doing, because OPay came as customer first. They started dealing directly with customers on the street. So they were like, okay, look at the numbers. We can look from research, you can get see what OPay is doing, what is helping them achieve these large numbers. Maybe we should look at it. And they carried out that research. They defined their goals. We are trying to improve revenue and improve customer reach as well. So they went into the POS business, and of course we can see the results ourselves. We can hear the volumes and the numbers that the likes of MoneyPoint and Paystack and Flutterwave.
Really remarkable.
Exactly. So the next step in the strategy will be for you to identify your technology stack. So of course, coding for POS, sales and marketing for POS, production for POS is different from just writing software and building dashboards and mobile app. There is a different kind of way you write codes. There's a different kind of way you market. There's a different kind of customer segment you focus on when you're building for things like POS. In this case, I'm using the POS as an example. So you identify the technology stack you need to use to build, to serve your customers, because now while you're defining your goals, you've already identified the customers and people you want to reach. Then the next thing is for you to identify the technology stack and how best to design it. Looking at tools and programming languages and other stuff you need to do. So the next will be for you to scale and optimize. Of course, the next for you will be to develop like a roadmap, face different stages. Okay, at this stage, let us maybe push out just 100, or let's go just with this Lekki area before we now move to Aja, before we move to maybe Ikeja. Do you understand? So you have like a segment. You can even decide, okay, maybe we should start with just restaurants or hotels, or people in just for POS cash, that kind of thing. So as you develop, as you push out your products, you also monitor progress, do your customer segmentation. You also check out your revenue in terms of, you compare your revenue in terms of cost you've put in, and see if this is something you actually want to continue with. And if it looks good, the next and the final phase will be for you to scale and optimize your process. So you look for what are those things you're not doing properly, and how do we make production of this cheaper while we increase revenue, because at scale you can optimize on production cost and improve your revenue at scale. So basically, when talking about digital transformation for startups, it's not just about one skill. Of course, you need technology skill. You need, leadership has to be there, and which is also one of the challenges you have when implementing digital transformation. The leadership of the company needs to be, solely involved, because they are the ones who direct the course of this digital transformation in the startup.
They're the decision makers.
Exactly. It's the holistic process. So they need to buy into the idea. At first they will be the ones to say, okay, let's hire someone who is a specialist in building this kind of solution for this our customer segment and all that. So yeah, so basically that's how I see the required skill set and the strategy required to implement digital strategy transformation for startups.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, you've done justice to that question, and I grabbed a whole lot from all that you shared. And I'd love to ask you, do you have a presentation? I'm sure you have a presentation so you can kick off with your presentation.
Yeah, I do have a presentation.
Okay.
Let me see if I can share my screen. Belong's presentation was awesome. And
super awesome. Super awesome. I'm sure our audience are really getting informed, getting educated. It's really been a remarkable time so far.
Yeah. Sorry, I have to get this permission. Oh, I have to leave and rejoin because I have to get the permission to share.
Okay, that's fine. Whilst we wait on you to get that done, for our viewers watching right now, please kindly note that you can drop your questions. Maybe you have questions on digital transformation, or you have questions on startup. You could drop your questions in the chat room. The chat room is made open. So ensure that you drop your questions. And if we have more time, I'm sure we'll be able to, our speakers will avail us the opportunity to take some questions and, just address some of the matters that you would bring to us. So do we have Paul Eze back now? Do we have Paul Eze back? Mr. Paul Eze, are you here? Okay.
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, you're back. Hello, hello. Oh, okay, Mr. Obina is back. Okay, just before you begin, I think I ought to read your bio clearly. I should have done that at the beginning. So Obina Chukwujuoke is a forward-thinking co-founder powering Africa's financial infrastructure at MapleRad. Obina Chukwujuoke is a transformative executive redefining the possibilities of financial infrastructure across Africa. Now, as the co-founder of MapleRad, he has brought a bold, solutions-driven approach to some of the continent's most complex fintech challenges, simplifying regulatory compliance, accelerating innovation, and enabling thousands of businesses to launch financial products seamlessly. Ladies and gentlemen, our dearest viewers for today, I give you Obina Chukwujuoke. Okay, now please, you have.
Happiness. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Thank you, Happiness. That was a very grand introduction. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, we are talking about digital transformation and startups, but there are three key terms here we need to understand so that it will be easier for one to, understand the whole concept of what we are doing today. So the first is digital, the second is transformation, and the last is startup. So digital, to me, in simple terms, is software or modern hardware that you can use that communicates via, zeros and ones, via bytes and, bits, just like that communicates through, software processes or software communication processes. Then the other one is transformation. Transformation is basically change. It could be bad or good, but in this case, of course, we are talking about positive change. Then the last one is startup. A startup is, an idea or a business or a small company that, basically have the ability to grow, at a rapid pace, and also have this agility in them to change and adapt to different changes in the environment. So while we are talking about digital transformation and startups, we are going to look at the foundation, the technology and implementation, the strategy and the success, the future outlook and return, and how to measure your return on investment for digital transformation. So digital transformation, by definition, is a strategic integration of digital technologies into all areas of the business, fundamentally changing how organizations operate, deliver value to customers, and compete in the market. So some of the key components include process transformation, which talks about digitizing and optimizing business processes, like how Belon mentioned. You go to a company and you see they might look so modern and so new, but you see that they do a lot of paper and a lot of manual processes there, so they require some form of digital transformation because these things also help employees to become more productive, right? It's not just about revenue. If you make your process easy, instead of printing, can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. Thank you. So instead of just printing the document, taking it to this other person's office or mailing it to this person, you can just, prepare the document, save it as PDF or Excel or whatever file formats, send it via email or share it via Slack or Dropbox, stuff like that. So it also involves process transformation. It makes work easier for employees and makes them more productive. Then customer experience, of course, the customer is always the first person you think about when you're talking about a business and making money from a business. So customer experience, you enhance your customer experience through interaction channels, like we have what's this called, that people chatbots. Yeah, but what's the name of this intercom Intercom, you have Zendesk, I think you have, there's so many of them now, MailChimp and the like. So where you can interact with your customers, gain insights from them, and also help them solve any pressing issues. So business models, yeah, you can also integrate digital transformation into your business models, like your pricing, okay, how do we, which talks about, like the example I gave initially about how, money point transition into like a POS business, they are trying to, see, oh, this business model, which one will pay us more and all that. So they decided to, get these hardwares, which are the POS devices, to see how they can reach more people and, also generate revenue and cash flow for their business. Then also cultural change, fostering digital first mindset and agility. So cultural change is when, leadership has to buy into the idea, so that when there's any new trend or when there's any need for improvement or for change in the company, it will be easy for their employees to just adjust and say, oh, not like some organizations now, for instance, like especially large organizations, or big startups, leadership can come and say, oh, we need to start doing this today. We need to start doing this as from next week. And maybe some employees can even leave because of that. They'll be like, oh, I don't believe this is a good idea. I don't like the fact that things just, someone can just wake up tomorrow and say, oh, let's do this, let's change this later. So you need to also imbibe that cultural change in them, you understand, make them feel part of the system, part of the entire process, and accept, modern changes and progress in technology. So that will also help digital transformation. Digital transformation market growth has been shown, according to a research by IMAC Group, it has been shown to grow by 16% CAGR, that's cumulative annual growth rates, in the next about 10 years. So you can see there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of money to be made once you implement this technology into your, processing into your company. Then we also look at the trends, what we are seeing this 2025 and, in the near future, 2025, and maybe in the next 2-3 years, we are seeing agentic AI, autonomous machine agents performing enterprise tasks. So where, in fact, now there's a company building something like you just talk to your computer and you tell it what you want to do. It goes into your computer. It does everything for you. You don't even need to start typing. For instance, you want to shop online. You just go there and tell your computer, oh, I like to buy a new handbag for happiness. It should be maybe a Gucci handbag or a Hermes handbag. It goes straight to, it search the internet, looks for the best, what's it called, place to buy quality handbags, check the prices, bring out the best prices, put everything for you. It already has, we already save our card details on our phones and our computer. It does everything for you. You just be looking at it. It will do everything for you. The next thing, you get an email that your order is going to arrive by so and so date. So that's agentic AI. So there are so many other things agentic AI can do. You have quantum computing, of course, improve computational power to help process, data, big data and large data, faster and easier, even cheaper for most companies like the likes of Google, Microsoft, and the likes. We have 5G expansion, fast network, of course, we need it, which enables things like telemedicine today. You see a doctor can perform, like a consultant in another location can be speaking to maybe junior doctors in another location, performing surgery, telling them what to do, devices to use and all that. So that's things like this 5G expansion. It also helps us, enables things like Internet of Things. This thing that you come to your house, you use your key card, just tap your key card, or you go to a hotel, you tap your key card, the door opens, all those things. All those things are powered by some form of, internet and fast. Of course, we know augmented reality and virtual reality, the likes of the Meta glasses and the Meta AR, VR, and the Apple headset that was made that you can use to work out, you can use to have virtual meetings and all that. We have neuromorphic computing. So they are trying to build computing in the sense that it thinks like, this, they are made of neural networks. So they're trying to mimic how the brain works, how the human mind works, So those are the trends we are seeing. We have edge computing. What is edge computing? So edge computing is, let me give an example. You have your camera, your home camera to monitor your premises for security. So what's the likes of Google now and maybe Ring is mainly in the US, but Google has Google camera, Google Lens, I think that's what they call it or something like that. So instead of sending, when it captures a record, a picture or whatever it is, instead of sending it straight to the cloud, processing it, then sending back to your mobile app or your desktop app to show you the, events, the sound or whatever it is, it processes part of the data right there and then in the camera device. Then all it needs to do is to send the data direct to your phone. So that time lag between going from the camera to the, cloud and back to your phone has been cut off. So it makes computing faster. Digital twins, of course, we see digital twins is, if you like, we know factories, process industries, for instance, like manufacturing, even oil production, where oil is being refined, they have what they call digital twins. How this works is that they model the entire factory in digital form. So whatever is happening in the factory, they can model it and see it on their desktop or on their mobile phone and know that, okay, something is wrong somewhere. There's this flow. The flow is not going at this particular speed. So what is the problem? They can see everything and know what to do from their desktop, even before going down to the factory to actually do the fix there. So those are some of the trends we are seeing in 2025. Then the advantages that startups have, of course, in digital transformation compared to large organizations and established companies: agility and flexibility in adopting new technologies. First of all, startups, most of the time, the team is usually small. So it's very easy, you know everybody by name, and what that you're all like, very close family member. You can easily just change and say, oh, you just do this, you do that, plus the fact that we also have remote work. So people have more time to themselves, to also upskill and learn new technologies faster than regular going to the office and coming back and all that. Lower legacy system constraint. Of course, most startups are recent, so most of their systems are not too old. So there's compatibility between the old system, between what they currently use and whatever new trend is currently out. Yeah. So they're also digital native to their business model. Of course, most startups are software inclined. You hardly see, well, they have startups who just do other things, but most of them have some form of software in their business model. So it's very easy to make changes, build new mobile app, change the UI, put new features, and all that stuff. So they also have access to modern cloud-based tools like the AWS, Azure and all that. Then ability to build customer-centric experiences from ground up. So from experiences from older companies, they can learn and say, okay, what is the pain point of the customers? I've used this product before. What was my pain point? Let me solve for that. So they already know. So they're now going closer to the customers compared to the older or larger companies. So some of the companies, technology adoption by startups, we have the best big data, of course, AWS, Microsoft Azure, and the likes. We have the AI companies like ChatGPT. We have the blockchain, fintech companies. We have 3D printing is not so common globally because it's a kind of capital intensive project to do. So their houses now they build with 3D printing. So just look at the normal printing paper, but in 3D this time around, they can print a house. If you go on YouTube and search 3D printed houses, you will see how some houses in the US that was printed. Yeah, exactly. They just put the model, the architect designs the model, do everything. It tells them the amount of cement, whatever it is they need, the water, they make sure there's a very big machine they have, very massive, machine they have. So once the mixture is complete, what the machine does is to start printing it. So no human intervention. Nobody comes to start plastering or start laying blocks or start measuring. The machine already has the dimension from the computer. It directly just pours out the cement, pours everything, and all that. So that's what 3D printing is. So it's a very capital intensive industry. So that is why, their adoption to, is quite growing.
Got like a whole lot more to share with us, but I'll just like you to just quickly wrap up the first part of your session.
Okay. Some of the challenges, digital transformation, some of the challenges to digital transformation, that's some of the things that can hold back. Of course, Belon said it in his earlier presentation. So change management, leadership has to be involved most of the time is always a problem. They don't want to say, oh, let's continue using this since it's already working. The next one is complex tech. So sometimes getting the right solution, the technology. In the case of my POS example, there are different manufacturers of POS, so you need to know which one is better, which of your customers will prefer, which of the technology your customers will prefer. Skills gap is another one. We need the right people. Who are the people to actually build the solution for us and ship it into the market. Security, you also have to take, because whenever you make change, there's always security loophole. So you also need to take a look of that. Budget, of course, money is always the cost. How much will it cost us, and what is the ROI? Then the culture of the company. Some companies don't like change; they just want to remain the way they are. So those are part of the things that can, affect
Okay.
transformation. Yeah. So yeah, just give me 1 more minute. So key technologies for startups, of course, AI, Internet of Things, blockchain, cloud computing. We already know that we've talked about this. Digital transformation tools and platforms. Some of the platforms like AWS, Power BI, TensorFlow and the likes. We know some of these too. I mentioned Intercom in my first example. Some success story. So at MapleRad, our FX solution is powered by AI. So we do what is called smart routing. So there are different FX corridors. We have USD to NGN, NGN to ZAF, these different currencies. So we look at which of these currency corridors have more volume. So we optimize revenue there, we optimize our revenue generally, either by reducing the AI suggest, either by reducing the spread on the FX there, so that more people can transact there and make more money, or by increasing it. So that's smart routing, and it has also helped us improve revenue. And we also use AI-powered solutions for our customer verification to also improve security. We have others in Domino Pizza, Nike, and the likes. Industrial applications, fintech, health tech. Today, you can use your example Reliance. You can use the app to get consultation and all that. Fintech, we already know this. Nigeria is like one of the leading people in the fintech today. Then retail, e-commerce, of course, yeah, chatbots where you can just type what you want to buy and stuff. Try on, AR try on. There's a Google, in the last Google developer series that happened, there's this feature they released where if you want to buy a shirt and you want to be sure it gives you the exact fitting you want, you use your Google camera to snap, and it does some form of modeling and stuff and shows you how the clothes is going to look exactly on you. So when you buy it, you not say, oh, it's nice, but it's too short or it's too
what I got.
Exactly. So I already talked about digital transformation strategy, how to implement it, the stages. Then how do you measure what you've done if you're actually getting your money? Of course, revenue growth is one.
Fantastic.
Cost reduction is another. Customer satisfaction, you do your NPS scores and retention rates. Process efficiency, you look at how efficient and how much output your workforce is now giving with little effort. People want to just work 5 hours a day and complete their tasks. So that is what you look at. So process efficiency, employee productivity, of course, these are tied together. Then market share, how much your product has spread across the market. Best practices, you start with customer needs. Of course, it's always customer, embrace agile methodology. So you need to be willing to change fast. That is what agility is all about. Data-driven decisions. Of course, all your decisions has to be what information you're getting from your customers or the people you're serving, right? You foster digital culture, prioritize security, and scale gradually. So some of the future outlook: biological computing, metaverse, I already talked about it, the AR, VR, that sustainable tech, and AGI. AGI is a term, is artificial general intelligence. So it's a term used to describe where AI can now behave like a human being. So currently, AI, if you notice, there are some AI models you can run some specific tasks on it. It gives you answers. Some gives better answers than the others. Just like if you use Grok compared to maybe ChatGPT, Grok might be giving better answers compared to ChatGPT. But AGI is a situation, is a term, or is a goal whereby AI can now think like a human being. So that's why what artificial general intelligence, and people are now even looking further today at artificial super intelligence, where AI behaves way ahead more than human beings. So a human being can know how to cook, can know how to drive, can know how to clean and all that. So that is what they want AIs to do. So that is why they're trying to use AI to replace humans, but not necessarily replace, but maybe to augment, and help humans to do better. So some of the key takeaways are here. I mean, the digital transformation startup have inherent advantages. You focus on your customer, which is very key. Everything speaks to customer. Then you measure and iterate continuously. Thank you. I know I've taken a lot of time, but thank you.
I mean, that was a whole load of information and insights that you've shared with us. Very, very fantastic presentation. You delved into several facets of digital transformation, especially the trends. You really focused on the trends, and particularly, I'm sure several startups are looking at the AGIs and how much more they can be more of a trend and not a threat to business processes. because I think that's one of the concerns actually ongoing. Or with this, would it a threat to my business or a threat to human employment in the long run? But of course, we'll touch more on that. So our next speaker, thank you so much, Obinachiku GOK.
You're welcome.
I'll come back to you, so please stay with us. Okay, next up, we're having our next speaker. Our next speaker is an expert in business processes optimization, BPOs, and he's been doing that in experience for a very, our next speaker has been doing this for a very, very well. He is a marketing and communication strategist with over 7 years of cross-industry experience, driving brand growth and business impact. And his journey began as a graduate assistant at the Taraba State University, where he taught international and intercultural communication and online journalism. From there, he transitioned into content marketing and moving on to helping brands for their user acquisition and growth. I mean, from there, he also joined Energy Seller, a renewable energy startup, as a marketing and communications associate, and also joined the Elevation Church as a brand and communication manager, overseeing the global brand strategy for the esteemed Pastor Godman Akilabi. And he did not just stop there. I mean, this is a man, I call him a man with many caps and many transitions. But of course, he did not just stop there. He is the founder of Scale NXT, which is at the forefront of digital transformation, equipping businesses with scalable operational frameworks, process automation, and efficiency. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is the amazing Kehinde Augustine. Mr. Kehinde, hello. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, happiness. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that amazing introduction. I was blushing while I was listening to you. So thank you, and thank you for a fantastic job done so far. It's been a pleasure just being here and hearing the previous speakers speak about digital transformation. Do you have a question for me, or should I go ahead to share my screen?
Stop with your presentation.
Okay, great. I'll share my screen now. Okay. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen clearly.
Okay, thank you very much. Like I said earlier, thank you so much for having me. It's been quite insightful just listening to the previous speakers talk about digital transformation. It is something that I am passionate about,
Yes.
and the organization that I lead, at God's Grace, is doing a lot of work in that area. We said quite a lot about digital transformation. Are you speaking, Happiness? I can hear you.
Kindly note that we have just 10 minutes to take us on this insightful.
That's noted. Thank you. Like I said, I would be very quick with my presentation.
Okay.
And of course, yeah, it is important. Okay. Are you speaking, Happiness? Can anyone hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, awesome, thanks. So I'll just run through, my presentation because the previous speakers have done justice to the topic already. However, I must state, just before I proceed, I must state that we are passionate about African businesses because we see that when we talk about digital transformation, African businesses are always the last, to catch on. And due to many factors, in terms of the context within which it exists here in Nigeria and across Africa as well. You see cost, you see technology solutions that are not even built with African businesses in mind. All right. And so we are trying to bridge that gap by providing scalable, simple solutions that are built from scratch with African startups in mind. And I mean, at ScaleNext, we work with done so far. We're seeing, we've we've worked with dozens of African businesses addressing their mission. And what we've discovered so far is that most of them are failing. And I mean, if you look at the statistics, right, at least 80% of new startups in Africa will fail within the next 5 years, of starting, within 5 years of starting. And when you look at that number, you realize that the problem usually is not about the idea. The idea, fantastic, the founders may be even very motivated, inspired. However, the challenge that we've discovered, the factors that we've discovered, responsible for the high attrition rate of startups on the continent is because, they use outdated systems in a world that is rapidly changing. And so from the way they even, serve their customers, the way they attend to bookings, the way they process payments, track expenses, there's so many gaps, inefficiencies, across their business process end to end. And so that is basically what SkinX is trying to again solve for businesses on the continent. All right. I mean, what is digital transformation? I'm not going to get into that because I believe Obina, Ogugwa, and the rest have done, amazing work just explaining what it means. Right. And so what are the gaps that we've seen across, African SMEs? Like I mentioned earlier, manual sales tracking, often on paper. I can give hundreds of examples. Again, we work really closely with startups across the continent, and we've seen this repeatedly many times. You speak to them, how do you even track your sales? Like, we use spreadsheets. Okay, cool. So how then do you also, analyze this? Nobody has that knowledge, to analyze, the sales. Paper, if you go to restaurants, you go to basically almost all the medium to small scale enterprises still in one way or the other use pen and paper to take stock, to track sales, to track expenses, all of those things. And it is affecting, when you look at it, it is affecting business performance at the end of the day. Of course, there's also zero visibility on cash flow and expenses. I've mentioned that. Of course, that's also as a result of the fact that most of their expenses tracking, still done manually. So you can't really see what you've made, over time. You can't really predict into the future, forecast to say, if I continue on this trajectory, this is how much I'm likely going to make in the next month or 2 or 3 or in the next year. And that is even where digital transformation comes in. But I'll get into that. There's also no customer data or retention plan. All right. And hiring without systems, people burning out. Google has said a lot about the fact that when we talk about digital transformation, I believe most businesses focus on the digital and not the transformation. All right. They think, digital transformation is just buying a new tool or subscribing to the latest trend, all of those things. It's really not about that. It is a transformation that is very important. And when you say transformation, it cuts across not just your digital footprint, not just the tool that you use, but also how you run your system, your process, your people, your culture across the board. That is a transformation that is even more important than the digital, right? And of course, there is the difficulty accessing loans or scaling up. And that is because, again, when you cannot gain visibility, when there is no digital record of your transactions, of your business, performance over time, banks, MFIs, find it very difficult to extend loan opportunities to such a business. And so these are like the gaps that we've seen across the many businesses that we've advised so far at SkillNext. Again, these issues are not really tech problems, all right? They are transformation problems. And so we like to focus more on the transformation, instead of the technology, because again, there are many tech solutions out there, but really, what exactly do you need? What stage are you right now? How can you, build and implement the right process that will maximize the technology that you would adopt? So that is basically what we're focused on, right? And again, the tools that are available to businesses are many, and many of them are even simple or free, right? But we'll get into that shortly. Now, how are these gaps hurting businesses that we've advised so far? The waste hours on repetitive tasks. Obina said quite a lot about technology and how they can improve efficiency. I think Google also mentioned that you hire more people instead of automating. You think that, again, in our experience, just speaking to businesses, when they come to us and we advise them or ask them, okay, what are your problems? Even when we talk to staff themselves, the solution always is we need more people. We need more people. We're overworked. We need more people to do this, to do that. Meanwhile, there's a simple tool that can simply, automate that particular process and remove the need to hire someone. And who was on the call if he's here. I'm sure he has that experience and he can speak to that extensively, being, in that space, hiring for businesses, right? Of course, without the needed visibility and tech tools, you also make poor decisions, due to missing data. You cannot find your transaction history. You cannot find, the number of sales you've made over a period of time. You cannot find, you don't even know how many customers you have and in terms of revenue over the past, maybe year or month. You don't even know. You are mixing things up. The money is going to different accounts. There is no convergence. There's no integration at any point to gather your data in one place for you to have, a better view of how you're doing as a business. So that's, affects businesses like that. Then you lose customers because you cannot follow up. I mean, we were speaking with a business the other day, and they run an online store, and he was saying, "Oh, we invested a lot of money early this year, but we're not seeing the results. We are not making sales. We are suffering." And I'm thinking that we need to expand. We want to get into different. Maybe we need the market. We need marketing. We need branding. All of those things. And I said, okay, let's even talk to you. Let's understand what your process is like. What is your customer acquisition? The process is like. How do you serve your customers? And in our research, we discovered that somebody on the team, actually on my team, texted them on IG. And for like 2 weeks, nobody picked up that message. Nobody responded. And just speaking with the founder, he told me that, because we had sent him some emails just asking different questions. And he told me, oh, no, I don't check my emails. I don't use my emails, So these are issues that are responsible for some of the problems that startups face today. The fact that there is no smart process in place to move customers from one point to the next seamlessly without having to waste so much time just waiting for a feedback, waiting for your vendor to get back to you, all of those things. All right. So these are the issues too. Then you miss funding because you have no record. I know many businesses have come to us to say our problem is we don't have money. If you have money like this, if we find the right funding, we are going to take over the whole market. We are set. We are all of those things. And they go to the bank, or they go to MFIs, or they even go to VCs, to private equity investors, and they ask them, "Let me see your books. Let me see what you've done over the last 1 year or 2 years, or even over the last month," and they cannot find it. And it becomes a problem because now they are scattered, they're all over the place, and gathering them, you've missed record, you've missed all of those things, and so you don't have access to to funding. And it interests you to know that currently in Africa there is over 3 billion funding gaps, right, loan gaps on the continent, and that's because banks don't trust startups because they cannot find relevant data about them. So banks usually just go to the big organizations, the established organizations, because at least they know these ones, they are here, they'll be here for a long time, so we can trust them to some extent. But for SMEs, there is no record for there's typically limited record, limited visibility. Banks cannot trust the record because again they're all over the place, and so they think that they're likely going to cook the books, right, just to get the funding, and so they are locked out of an opportunity to expand. This is even where digital transformation also can come in, just to again remove those inefficiencies, those manual processes, and automating those things, giving them the needed visibility for them to be able to access the kind of opportunities that they need. I mean, like I said here, the cost of not transforming is always higher than the cost of starting small. And again, I would elaborate on that shortly. I mean, where can you start from as a small business here on the continent in Africa? Sales and customers, I've said it, WhatsApp business, Facebook page, free tools that you can just start from, have a Facebook page. I mean, there's different, solutions, bots that can answer, customer inquiries for you, move that inquiry to your pipeline where your salesperson can see it. Many tools really, and are free. Typically, you don't have to pay for them, right? Before you start talking about AI, start talking about machine learning, start talking about, artificial general intelligence and how it impacts your business, starts from the things that are not that high level yet and are not that expensive for you as a small business. Because again, I believe we're talking about startups here, so you don't have all the funds. What free tools exist, that you can use? For example, just a week, like a month ago, my business, we are building a product, right? And we thought, okay, we need to build a prototype just for us to see how it works, how it plays out in real life. And speaking with developers, and they were calling millions of naira. And we thought, okay, I mean, there's a tool we can use. We checked online, then we saw Replit, and with Replit, we were able to build a prototype for free. But just for us to test, okay, is this even viable? Is this a business idea that is scalable for free? And what did it cost us? Maybe 5 hours of just reviewing and fine-tuning the prompt for us to get the right result. So you don't have to, go all in spending millions of naira that you don't have to adopt a tool. I recall I was speaking with a business founder. He was lamenting so bitterly, and he said, "Oh, they've just paid one company in Australia for a tech solution. They paid them $4,000, and of course, they didn't have someone on the team to manage that system, so they had to employ someone to manage it, and then send the person to the company to train them at the cost." And he was complaining so bitterly, and he was like, "Why don't you have a tool in Africa that can do this?" And the question I asked him was that, is it the technology that you actually needed, or you needed just small automation here and there, just small tools that can just remove this and that across your your operations? And it turned out that he didn't actually need the tool. He went all in because he thought, okay, when I bring the tool, then all my problems are solved. When you introduce a tool into a photo system, into a photo culture, these results is going to be the same. So we always advise businesses, think transformation first before you go digital. Think operations, think process, think culture first, think people before you invite a company to come in and do your tech audits and recommend a tech stack that is going to cost you an arm and a leg. All right. I mean, also finance and expenses, Wavekeeper, you can manage all your finances. ScaleX, that's the tool that we are building at ScaleX, just to help businesses manage finances and, of course, connect them to credit opportunities. It's a disruptive product that is still in development that we hope to take to the market very soon. There's inventory, Bumper. With Bumper, you can manage your inventory as a small business, and it's free. Typically, it's free, so you don't even need to. And it's very simple to use on mobile. You can build a website, all of it. Just start small and scale up from there. And I think Obina mentioned that. There's also team collaboration, WhatsApp groups. Start from WhatsApp groups before you think of, I need to go and buy Slack, for example, or I need maybe an AI agent to help me gather. No, start from WhatsApp groups. Put your team in different groups, or if it is Google Drive to manage your documents, your resources in one place. Always Click from Zoho. Click is very cheap, it's affordable. The learning curve is not that steep, so you can get your team. And it's very cheap, really, in Naira, very cheap. There's Slack also if you want to scale up, all right? But again, you don't have to start big. You can start from where you are, understanding your context, your position, where you are as business, and finding a tool that is cheap, that can help you at that level until you are able to scale to the next level, all right? And of course, what we are learning at ScaleX is that digital transformation is not a destination, it's a journey. And at ScaleX, we support this journey through product innovation, like I mentioned, ScaleX, sales and expense tracking via WhatsApp and the capacity building. We also really invested in training small businesses, advising them on, what, it is not really about the technology most times. It is about even you, your operations, the founder, your culture. Transform that first. Let's find a tool that's going to help it. Digital tools are not the end all and be all of transformation for businesses or even growth for businesses. They are to enable your growth. Whatever problems that you are having, right? If you introduce a tech to whatever foundational or structural problems that you're having, whatever systemic problems that you're having, if you introduce a tech into that, it's not going to help it. It's going to enable that problem. It's going to make it bigger, really, because you realize that if your system is faulty, your culture is faulty, technology will not solve it. So think transformation at the level of culture, at the level of people, at the level of operations first, and then find the right tech tool that fits, that answers that for you, and integrate, all right? And structure and systems, helping, SMEs build lean, scalable operations. That's what we do at ScaleX, right? Our approach is local first, mobile focus, and built around, the unique constraints African businesses face. And if a business owner listening to this in this meeting, this is what you should do very quickly. Audit your processes, what is still manual and causing delays. Choose one area to digitize this quarter. Involve your team. Transformation is not a solo act at all. Get your team involved. Let everybody on the same page. Then track your results. Look at set KPI. I think Obina mentioned ROI earlier. KPIs, what do you want to save? Is it time? Is it, sales, all of those things set? And then, of course, don't go it alone. Plug into supportive communities. There's so many communities for small businesses that can, plug into, like what business is doing with the Millennial Hangout. That's a supportive, platform where they provide, the needed resources, the expertise for you to be able to, understand what you are as a business and where you need to be and what you need to do to get there. All right. So don't try to say, what, my idea is super awesome and whatever it is that I say is the final. look for communities in your niche that can, act as springboard, or at least resource you in a way that will allow you to do your work, or your business, better. Now, my last slide. Now, this is not digital transformation is about survival and scale, really. And the businesses that will thrive in the next 5 years are not the ones with the most staff, the biggest funding, or the fanciest offices. They're the ones who adapt, the ones who learn, unlearn, and use the right tools to run smarter. In our scale next, we believe digital transformation is Africa's biggest business unlock. So the question that we ask, businesses is that will you be a part of it? And let me just add this, as I wrap up, as I close. Let me add this. There's something someone said. A person said that big companies don't lose to small companies, and small companies don't lose to big companies. Small companies lose to fast. Or businesses lose to fast, businesses. So it's about speed, it's about agility, it's about efficiency, and this is where digital transformation can come in. Start small and scale up from there. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kehinde Augustine. From all that you have shared with us, basically, digital transformation is a total reimagining of your business. And it's very apt what you said, that small businesses do not lose to big businesses, but rather they lose to fast businesses. If your company is either a tech company now, or you are either building the future or you're being disrupted by it. So it's really like the biggest part of transition for most businesses. Thank you so much, Kehinde Augustine, for that very, very insightful time. Well, we're moving on right now to our next speaker, and then we'll take our icebreaker session. So our next speaker is an entrepreneur, is an angel investor, and an advocate for financial literacy and inclusion. Now, as the CEO and the co-founder of Trucker, he set up a financial services startup known as Trucker, which is based in the UK and also recently expanded to Canada. They're basically focused on building solutions that make financial services more accessible. Mr. Henry Bankole has a very strong background in sales and business development. He also played a very key role in scaling Number. I'm sure you've heard of Number, a YC-backed fintech here in Nigeria. And he also helped in growing that company into a $150 million company. Also, as an angel investor and a member of Angel Squad, Mr. Henry invests in early-stage startups, supporting innovative entrepreneurs and fostering growth in the tech ecosystem. He has a very vast experience across fintech, product sales, partnerships, and he continues to inspire other founders. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is Mr. Henry Bankole.
Thank you very much, Happiness. That was massive. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. So yeah, quickly, I'll just share my screen. Okay, I think Kehinde is still sharing, so it might be a bit difficult to share. Thank you. Okay. So very quickly.
Okay, whilst we're waiting for Mr. Henry to share his screen, please remember that you could drop your questions in the chat room. The chat room is made open. Drop your questions, and I'm sure we'll be able to take a couple of them. Sign out.
Okay.
Over to you.
Please, yeah, please, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen. I can see the screen.
Thank you very much. So yeah, I want to try as much as possible to not speak on what has been said already, so that we don't waste too much time. I think that the speakers have covered a lot of ground here. So let's look at some of the numbers. Let's look at some of the things that we're getting right in the Nigeria startup ecosystem. So one of the key advantages that I see as for startup founders, for SMEs and all of that is we have up to 140 million plus internet users in Nigeria. There are so many solutions that can be built around that. that population is definitely more than the population of Denmark, of so many countries in Europe. So that is a key advantage for us in Nigeria specifically, and that is something that should excite entrepreneurs. And 15 trillion naira in the digital economy target. So 15 trillion naira is what the government is targeting. That is where we intend to get to, and you can be a part of this as well. And there is 5 unicorns in Nigeria as we speak. There are 5 unicorns. You've got Paystack, you've got Moneypoint, I believe, you've got Flutterwave. These platforms, these businesses have done it, and they are showing us that it can be done as well. Definitely, the ability to scale is not something that it can't be done without digital transformation. And one key thing to note is that Nigeria is positioned as Africa's largest digital market with unprecedented opportunities for startup growth. I saw a particular data a couple of months ago that said that Africa as a whole will have 1/3 of the entire world's population by 2050. So that's something that should encourage us. This is a massive opportunity. We're seeing accelerators coming to Nigeria. We're seeing VCs coming to Nigeria to look at this opportunity. There is no market that is positioned to be better or stronger than Nigeria in terms of what we are, the population advantage that we have. So, what is driving digital transformation in Nigeria today? The mobile-first economy, and it's 5% of people can access mobile devices. They can access the internet. So when you're thinking about your solution, this is something that should be a key driver when you are building, and there's so many opportunities there. So literally, it means that your customers are walking at a storefront. They're carrying it wherever they go. There's the fintech revolution, of course, and the truth is, as much as we feel like fintech is so much or so rampant in Nigeria, fintech has done so much for us in the startup ecosystem in Nigeria. I think of the like of Paystack, the likes of Flutterwave and the rest likes, and definitely Number, where I used to work as well. The goal was to, how do we get the Honda Bank to be unbanked? I know that the phrase is such a cliche now, but think about it, that we couldn't have done this without digital transformation, because couple of years back, you see long queues in the bank. I don't know if it's still existing, but it would be very awkward if it's still happening, because fintechs are supposed to be making that, they are supposed to be solving that problem, where you go to like the likes of GT Bank and there are like 200 people on the queue and you're wondering that, what am I doing in this place? So solutions like the ones that the likes of Number they are providing right now to make sure that people can access payment or make payment has definitely simplified a lot of things, and it couldn't have been done without digital transformation. My colleagues have spoken about the introduction of AI and ML, spoken about cloud computing, mobile technology, blockchain, data analytics, and all of this. All of these tools are available, at our disposal. But what you have to think about, like I said earlier, is it has to be customer driven. And then another thing to keep in mind is that digital transformation is highly cultural. You can't change the tools and then expect that the whole company or the whole organization will be transformed all of a sudden. As much as you are investing in these tools, you have to invest in those that are going to use these tools as well. There are companies today in Nigeria where people still struggle to adapt to technological tools. It is not because they don't want to, it's just because sometimes they don't have enough support to be able to embrace that particular technology. So it is cultural, it is human, it is technological as well. So there are so many things that artificial intelligence and machine learning can do for us today. People already use ChatGPT to make videos for marketing. That we can now access cheaper cloud platforms like AWS and the likes of that. And to the best of my knowledge, I believe that there are cloud solutions in Nigeria that Nigerian entrepreneurs are building at the moment. So there are loads of opportunity, especially when you think about the fact that there is a mobile phone that connects everybody to the internet today. So next, very quickly, I just highlighted a few companies here. One interesting thing that I would say is, and I like to say it because I think that we are maturing, as much as it still looks like a very young ecosystem in Nigeria, we're maturing. There are now five unicorns. Unicorns are companies that have hit that $1 billion landmark. So it's no small feat at all. So Nigeria is definitely leading there. And that is something that should encourage every entrepreneur on this call today, or all intending entrepreneur on this call today. So we can see the likes of those that have innovated through digital transformation, simplifying payments, simplifying logistics like Kobo 360 and all of those platforms. Let's move to what are some of the challenges that for startups in Nigeria when it comes to digital transformation. There is still the issue of power outages in Nigeria today. They still happen, and those are some of the hindrances. Those are some of the setbacks, especially in remote areas. When you go to very remote areas, people are very compassionate about what's going on there. Entrepreneurs want to build for that particular area, but when there are issues of power outages, slow internet, it just causes a lot of setbacks. So those are some of the things that we should find way. And now there are now solar startups in Nigeria that are finding ways to solve the problem of power outage. I believe that they are also developing local solutions for internet connectivity as well. So funding constraint is another major issue, and I think that some of the speakers spoke earlier, they mentioned it. As an intending entrepreneur today, it is still challenging to raise funds for your startup. But we need to find ways to develop our ecosystem to support local entrepreneurs. I want to see more angel investors. I want to see more crowdfunding platforms that just say, hey, let's come together to fund solutions, to fund innovations and all of that. So there's the problem of talent shortage as well. There's an interesting data that I saw that said maybe about 75% of the students that graduate from NYC or that completed their NYC, they lack digital transformation knowledge. So that's a huge setback. So as much as we use our mobile phone especially for social media, so we use a lot of social media platforms. There's still loads of knowledge to be gained when it comes to digital transformation. A lot of people don't know how to use ChatGPT beyond just asking questions, writing essays, and all of that. It's definitely beyond that. Of course, regulatory uncertainty as well. That is still an issue. Cybersecurity risk as well. That is also a problem that we're trying to solve. So I'm just trying to list out some of the challenges that we're seeing. And lastly, and very interestingly, is cultural resistance as well. In certain organizations, especially those that use legacy systems, it's always very difficult to adopt to new systems that are coming in. It is highly cultural. You have people that just say, oh, I don't think I want to use that. If this is solving our problem, why should we have to use this? Well, it's about scaling your solutions. It's about simplifying these things. It's about reducing costs. So there are operational metrics to it. It's about there are financial metrics to it. I think Google has said something interesting in the beginning, and you hear this thing everywhere now. That they say something about, oh, AI is going to take your job here, AI is going to do this and do that. I think the only job that we lost it has to do with those that don't embrace these technologies early enough. So they are the early adopters, and we're seeing so many of them in Nigeria, even right now. There are so many startups that are embracing new technologies early on this way. And it is fantastic because if you don't embrace it, there's a very high tendency that you're going to be left out. So yeah, of course, there's a framework that I believe that every entrepreneur should adopt, assess and plan. So it starts with a brutal question of where exactly are you now in your organization? Where do you want to be? There has to be a tracker that you set. You have to identify what problem. You have to understand. I mean, it's one thing for a SaaS company to come to you and say, "Oh, there's this solution that will help you to solve this problem." But you need to be honest about the question: is that your actual problem, or is that just a nice to have? What is the gap you're experiencing? And very importantly, make sure that these are data-backed evidences. You don't just assume that these are the things that are the problem. And build a foundation. You can't build a skyscraper on a weak foundation. You have to invest in infrastructure, hire the right people, and make sure that you establish a process that is very, very solid, and it's of course streamlined. Implement and scale. Once you start to embrace these technologies and they are solving this problem and they are trackable, you can see you have set metrics to be able to track them. Make sure that you are looking forward to scale them as well. And lastly, innovate and adapt. So digital transformation is an iterative process. It doesn't stop. You don't just do it and say, "Oh, we've done it already." So you're on this call today and you're hearing, "Oh, I'm going to have to introduce an HR solution and it's going to help me to solve this problem." It doesn't end there. The world is evolving. You have to continue to adapt. And I think one of the first questions I was asked was that, how do we make sure that we don't get left behind? It's by not evolving. That's what usually happens. Let's see. Financial metrics. I want to throw in something really quickly, and this is somewhat anecdotal. When I was in the university for my undergraduate back in Nigeria, I would hear computer science students complaining about how they are still being taught Fortran and COBOL. At the time, people had already moved on to like C# and C++. They've moved on to newer technologies, and it looks like the curriculum back in the university was just it's so slow, it's not catching up. So we have graduates that are graduating with knowledge that are no longer as applicable in the real world. So the structure for evolution is not really working as it should. That's why you see that some people graduate and the knowledge that they have spent over 4 or 5 years acquiring is not like something they can use in the real world. So that's something we have to look at as well. And it would explain the gap that we have, the knowledge gap, the digital transformation gap that we have with even those that have gone to the university and are still unable to fill this, to take on these opportunities that exist, especially with startups. So what is next? Where are we going? My colleagues have said it's AI-powered solutions, of course. And what is AI doing? Customer service. In fact, some organizations have totally left. They've left customer service to AI, to chatbot and the rest. Personally, I would not advise a full transformation that way. I would say that people still need to be able to talk to human agents. So if you want to introduce a solution that will help you to reduce the wait time for customer service, make sure that you are still able to inject that human experience into it. If not, there are potential dangers to that. And then Web3 and blockchain. I know when we talk about blockchain, most people think about what's it called, Bitcoin and all of that. It is more than that. There are smart contract opportunities. In fact, a couple of days ago, I was speaking with a friend. I was talking about how he intends to digitize property document and all those through smart contracts and all of that. IoT and smart city, there's a problem for Internet of Things and smart cities. There's a problem of traffic in Lagos that a startup can solve for. We just need to think about this issue. Of course, the power grid issue as well. How do we optimize these things? And there's the green technology that I think that we don't have too many startups focusing on in Nigeria. And I wouldn't know. I just think that when I think about it in the pyramid of problem that we have. A lot of people are still at the base where we're just thinking about what to eat and all of that. And I think was it Tosin that said it, that you need to look at your own problem. You can't build a problem that is not, you can't build a solution that is not meant for our problem and expect to sell it to our own people. So green technology is evolving. It is, taking different types of shape. You need to look at what are the issues that you can solve for. It could be from carbon credits. It could be renewable energy. We have loads of opportunity when it comes to sunlight. How do we tap that? How do we optimize for solar solutions in Nigeria? Then the cross-border expansion as well. One of the things that I've also noticed with Nigerian entrepreneur is, and this is not like a terrible thing itself, it's just your own vision as an entrepreneur. It's how far do you want to go? You don't have to limit yourself to just Nigeria. You can build for countries outside Nigeria, Africa, the rest of the world. There are so many places in Europe today that are not even as, how do I say it, are not as developed when it comes to technology as you would expect. They do have a structure, but notwithstanding, they are not as advanced as you would expect. Still using legacy systems. So you can look at these countries, look at their compliance framework, look at the opportunities that are there as well. So have a global vision, even if you are in Nigeria still. And so, yeah, we're rounding up here. What are the key takeaways? And this, I've summarized them into just 4. When it comes to digital transformation, it's not just about fancy technology. It is more than that. You know, it is holistic. It involves every part of the organization, the value chain, the people in the organization, the cultural aspect of it, you know, and you can't just limit it to just technology. So another thing is build incrementally. You don't have to transform everything overnight. I said earlier, I said that, you know, digital transformation can take two shapes. And this is where you don't want to get it wrong. It could be incremental or it could be radical. Radical in the sense that you probably have to introduce a complete or total transformation. Incremental in the sense that you can build on existing problem. If you're a startup founder, maybe a tech CEO, you can build on the problems. I mean, the solutions that are already existing. You don't have to, you know, like they say, it's good to stand on the shoulders of people, giants. So you don't have to do this alone. Again, I love what we're doing here through the Business Day Millennial Hangout. It's amazing what we're doing here. It is also a community. It's where you come to get information, to be able to hopefully connect with people and get some type of mentorship. It's not something that can be done alone. You have to leverage partnership. You have to learn from others as much as possible. And, you know, there are ecosystems that are forming across the startup world in Nigeria now that you can definitely tap into. A lot of them are free. Just it helps you to gain support. I am currently a part of almost 3 here in the UK. And what happens is this person has the information that you need. This person has, somebody's asking about API connection. Somebody's asking about cloud infrastructure that are cheaper. All of these things just gives you insights that you'll probably not be exposed to if you don't tap into that kind of network. So I want to see more of this kind of network in Nigeria.
Very fantastic.
Yeah, and then just this last two, sorry. Stay agile and be flexible. Agility is the ability to iterate very quickly, get customer feedback, and be able to just design your solutions to be able to meet the need of those customers. As much as we want to transform things, what is the benefit if you are not solving customers' problem? If you are not making the life of your employees easier? So maybe they would normally spend about 20-30% of their work on just paperwork. If you find solutions that there are definitely solutions that can simplify that and just make it easy for them, so they don't spend that much time on just paperwork. Adapt it as quickly as possible. If you find something that is cheaper, and that's why it's important to set metrics, you know, to be able to track how much you are growing. And lastly, with digital transformation, technology is the tool, but strategy, leadership, and customer value are the foundation. So you can't do it in silo. Digital transformation cannot be done in silo. It has to involve all of these other parts that we have mentioned: the cultural aspect, the people aspect, the customer aspect, the metrics aspect, the data analytic aspect, the technological aspect. All of it has to be combined, and that's why we say it is holistic. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Ooh, that was really it was indeed a power-packed time. Learned a whole lot. We learned a whole lot. And I'm sure our viewers have been so informed. There's a whole lot you touched on. But before you go, Mr. Henry Barclay, I'd like you to also come from the perspective of, you know, being an angel investor yourself. You spoke about some of the challenges that some of these angel investors, you know, had, you know, writing that first check that up. So my question now would be, can you inspire, you know, maybe someone out there, you know, to change their perspective sometimes, you know, as much as they are looking out for some of these loopholes here and there, you know, to encourage the landscape, because we're talking about, you know, changing the landscape for most startups at the same time. So please, you know, just inspire, talk to your fellow investors.
Happiness, I am so sorry, but I didn't hear the question from the start. It was breaking at some point. Apologies.
Okay. Okay, so I'll go again in a few sentences. So coming from the perspective of an angel investor yourself, There are several challenges angel investors have, such as looking for very credible startups that have scalable plans, for the future. So I'd like you to inspire, your fellow investors that may be listening or watching on what steps to take, and also, encouraging startups to change the African landscape. It's very important.
Yeah, it definitely is. Thank you very much, Happiness. So the first thing I was saying, and this goes to angel investors like myself, when you hear that I have the tag angel investor, maybe you're thinking about the 10,000 of pounds or dollars. You don't have to have that much. I am a part of a syndicate, angel syndicate, and you don't have to have so much money to be able to be an angel investor. You just have to be able to see these opportunities and just support it. At the end of the day, you're also looking to support this young and vibrant and emerging ecosystem in Nigeria. So I would say one thing though to angel investors in Nigeria: please do not always adapt the Silicon Valley framework to Nigeria. A lot of the entrepreneurs in Nigeria that are coming up, they don't exactly have that playbook of the Y Combinator playbook and all those things. So as much as possible, try to localize how your understanding of the entrepreneurs in Nigeria. I'm not saying to not look at the essential metrics that you want to look at to be able to tell if this is going to give you the ROI. But I'm just saying that it's a young ecosystem. Lots of people didn't have to go through Y Combinator. So if you can try to tailor your strategy, it will help you more. And yeah, please, as much as possible, let us continue to build angel syndicates, allow more people to come in as much as possible. We can also look at creating more system like crowdfunding systems in Nigeria that's going to definitely push young entrepreneurs as well. Then in a way to also say contribute towards developing sandboxes that can help young entrepreneurs as well to test ideas, to iterate, and do all of those things. To the entrepreneurs out there, it's definitely challenging. I'm not going to lie to you. Raising funds is incredibly challenging, especially when you are an African founder. Loads of odds are stacked against you, but you have to remember that it is not a day's journey. It will test you. It will nearly drive you mental. But as much as possible, keep going. Don't be afraid to bootstrap in the beginning if that's what you need to do. Fundraising shouldn't be we have arrived. It's not that's not the way that we should see fundraising. It's a testament that people are able to validate, or say VCs or angels or family offices are able to validate what you have. But at the end of the day, if you believe in an idea, the first thing that should be the North Star for you should be, can the customers validate this? Has it been validated? Do the customers want this? Is there a pool for it? So if all of those things check, and you're not able to access funding at that level, start bootstrap, talk to your family and friends, guard these things, and as much as possible, be a part of a network that helps you to access information. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Henry Bankole. That was really a very, very refreshing one. Well, I would like to thank all our speakers thus far. Thank you so much, Mr. Henry Bankole. Thank you, Kehinde Augustine. Thank you, Paul Eze. I mean, it's been a very, very fantastic time. Thank you, Ogogwa. Belongu. Thank you so much to all our speakers for today. I mean, they have really done a whole lot of justice to the topic that we have today. So maybe you are a startup leader or a startup team lead. So you need to just pick out all of this nudges that have been shared. Ensure that you communicate effectively with your team. They need to understand how important it is to scale, because real transformation is not just external, it starts from inside. And it's also important that you also consciously push your leadership as well to prioritize these internal decisions that would aid and allow your organization to push for digital transformation. Very, very key. Then also, Obina Chukwujoke, thank you so much. You spoke about a whole lot of things about how it's very important to build on several technology tools that are out there. It's better for you to build now, right, than to build it later at twice the cost. So it really places that responsibility on you as a tech builder. Then also Mr. Henry Bankole talked to us about being an angel investor and several infrastructures that also you need to put in place, for your startup to scale digitally in this time. And we also had Ogogoa that spoke about the different trends in digital transformation. So thank you so much to all our speakers. We've had a very, very exciting time. So whether you are leading a team, you're building a product, investing in a startup, or architecting systems, digital transformation is your key move. It is your most intentional decision for today. And I'd like to especially say a very big thank you to the Millennial Hangout organized by BusinessDay. Incredible work, bringing so much knowledge and information to people. Well, this is that time where we come to an end of today's webinar. I want to thank you all especially for joining us on today's webinar as we discussed on digital transformation and startups. Well, until next time, we'll come your way again. Keep scaling your businesses, keep bringing value through your products and through your startups.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to all our speakers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, bye.
And please also know that you can connect with our speakers. You can connect with them on LinkedIn. If you have more questions, you can always connect with them. Ensure you connect with them right away. We've got loads and lots of information you could get from them. Thank you once again for joining in.